In this video, I've put some questions on mechanical comprehension for you to prepare for the ASVAB test. A perfectly efficient machine provides the biggest mechanical advantage, converts all the power applied to it into outputted force, uses the least amount of horsepower, provides the simplest route to accomplish the task. The answer here is this one. Converts all the power applied to it into outputted force. So a perfectly efficient machine converts all the power applied to it into outputted force. Efficiency is a measure of how effectively a machine converts input energy or power into useful output work. So in the case of a perfectly efficient machine, there are no energy losses and all the power supplied to the machine is fully utilized to generate the desired output force or work. So in reality, no machine can achieve 100% efficiency due to various factors such as friction, heat losses, and other energy dissipations. However, the concept of a perfectly efficient machine is used as a theoretical benchmark to understand the ideal performance of a machine when no energy is wasted or lost during the conversion process. Which of the following measures of the force's ability to cause an object to rotate? Torque, friction, pressure, vector. So the answer here is torque. Alright, torque is the rotational equivalent of force. It is a measure of the force that causes an object to rotate about an axis. So torque is calculated by multiplying the force applied to the object by the perpendicular distance between the force and the axis of rotation. And torque is an important concept in physics and engineering. It is used in many different applications, such as opening doors, turning screws, and starting engines. What mechanical motion principle do the brakes in a car or on a bicycle use? Momentum, centrifugal force, friction, or acceleration? The answer here is friction. Now, brakes work by converting the kinetic energy of the moving vehicle into heat energy through friction. When the brake pedal is pressed, a piston pushes brake fluid into the brake lines. So the brake fluid applies pressure to the brake pads, which rub against the rotors. So the friction between the brake pads and the rotors slows down the rotation of the wheels, which slows down the vehicle. And acceleration, centrifugal force, and momentum are not involved in the braking process. What is the point at which the lever pivots? The force point, the fulcrum, the shaft, or the axle? The answer here is the fulcrum. Alright, the fulcrum of a lever is the support point on which the lever pivots, like the center point of a seesaw. A lever is a simple machine, meaning that it amplifies an input force to provide a greater output force. The fulcrum's position affects the type of lever and the mechanical advantage provided by it. Which material is best suited for use as a boat anchor? Glass, metal, foam, wood. So the best material for a boat anchor is a metal. So the answer here is a metal. A metal is strong and durable, and it can withstand the harsh conditions of the marine environment. It is also heavy, which helps to keep the anchor in place. But foam here is not a good material for an anchor because it is not strong or durable. Glass, on the other hand, is also not a good material because it is brittle and can break easily. And lastly, wood is a good material for some types of anchors, but it is not as strong or durable as metal. The center of gravity of a baseball bat would be best described as at the top, near the grip, near the skinny end, or near the fat end. So the answer here is near the fat end. The center of gravity is the point at which the weight of an object is evenly distributed. It is the point around which the object would balance if it were suspended from a string. So in the case of a baseball bat, the mass is concentrated more in the fat end because the bat is thicker at that point. This means that the center of gravity is also closer to the fat end. So the center of gravity of a baseball bat can vary depending on the weight and thickness of the bat. However, it is generally located near the fat end. Which of the following wedges generates the greatest amount of force? 7-inch long and 4-inch high, 5-inch long and 4-inch high, 9-inch long and 4-inch high, or 11-inch long and 4-inch high. So the answer here is the 11-inch and 4-inch high wedge. And this one generates the greatest amount of force. So the force generated by a wedge is proportional to the product of its length and height. So the wedge with the greatest length and height will generate the greatest force. In this case, the 11-inch long wedge has the greatest length and height, so it will generate the greatest force. And the 11-inch wedge here is followed by the 7-inch, 9-inch, and 5-inch wedges. What would happen to a balloon full of air if you moved it from above a water surface to 10 feet below the water surface? The balloon would explode, the volume of the balloon would increase, the volume of the balloon would decrease, or the volume of the balloon would stay the same. So the answer here is the volume of the balloon would decrease. All right, the volume of the balloon would decrease if you moved it from above a water surface to 10 feet below the water surface. This is because the water pressure increases with depth. At 10 feet below the water surface, the water pressure is about 33.4 feet of water, or 33.4 psi, or pounds per square inch. And this pressure pushes inward on the balloon, causing it to shrink. And the balloon would not explode because the air inside the balloon is compressed. The air molecules are forced closer together, but they do not have enough energy to escape from the balloon. And if the balloon was not tied, the increase in water pressure would cause the balloon to expand and eventually burst. The other options are incorrect. The other three. The balloon would not explode, and the volume of the balloon would not increase or stay the same. A lever transmits power from one object to another, reduces resistance, cannot move in the reverse direction, or multiplies force and changes directions. So the answer here is this one. Multiplies force and changes direction. A lever is a simple machine that consists of a rigid bar that pivots around a fixed point called the fulcrum. And the fulcrum divides the lever into two arms, the effort arm and the load arm. The effort arm is the part of the lever that the force is applied to. The load arm is the part of the lever that the load is applied to. And the mechanical advantage of a lever is the ratio of the output force to the input force. And the output force is the force that is applied to the load arm. The input force is the input force is the force that is applied to the effort arm. The mechanical advantage of a lever can be increased by increasing the length of the effort arm or by decreasing the length of the load arm. And the direction of the force is also changed by a lever. The input force is applied in the direction of the fulcrum, and the output force is applied in the opposite direction of the fulcrum.